surveys, we have identified the lands, we have secured the lands. All of the geological tests have been done, all of the assessments have been done, and we are moving ahead. The final designs have been done on the building, and we're progressing to do so, to have physical work done before the end of this year. Mr. Speaker, this project has been cut up into a number of phases, and the physical structure is the last phase. Because we realize that if we do not prepare folks within the community with the skills to manage and to maintain, we may have difficulties at the end when a physical structure is built. So we have done sharing with the Kalinago Council, what we call the hamlet committees, because the Kalinago territory and Atkinson, collectively we have 10 different hamlets, and these folks are being trained to ensure that they can manage these facilities on their own. Mr. Speaker, a softer part, and my colleague Minister from La Plaine, the member for La Plaine, spoke about child protection and all of these issues that affect people at the community level. And so, working with the ministry, we were able to do a parenting program, and we expended a significant amount of money in that project to ensure that people across the board are able to deal with the issues of growing a family and handling incidents of children's attitude towards their own development. So we have done that. We covered community leaders consultations. We had a conversation with farmers as relates to parenting, teachers within the system. We had programs in every community across the constituency. So we're happy for this, and what we have found out, Mr. Speaker, is that we have acquired a lot of relevant information. Some things we thought were not so important. We have been able to create the data. We have learned new parenting strategies. We have formed supporting networks between hamlets, and so this, Mr. Speaker, has been a success. Over the past 3 months, more than 60 people have been trained, and we have a balance of men and women in there, and we're able to ensure that the folks at the Social Welfare Division are able to do the work within that space. Mr. Speaker, we got a lot of feedback from this program, and we're hoping that this sort of projects will carry on through other constituencies across the country. Mr. Speaker, within the ministry, we have a set targets that we have identified, and they're captured very nicely in this budget and under the PSIP, the Public Sector Investment Program. And under the environmental pillar, we do have a massive project in what we call the Green Climate Fund Enhanced Direct Access Project. And this is about $17.1 million that is going to be implemented by the ministry. No, so while we work towards becoming a climate resilient country, we realize that we have to also gain and have access to sustainable financing. And so this money comes out of the Green Climate Fund, and the very name itself explains it's an enhanced direct access where community groups, government institutions can access monies to create their own sustainable development projects. I am grateful to the cabinet colleagues who are here, who approved and gave the thumbs up to allow the ministry to become an accredited ministry under the Adaptation Fund and the Green Climate Fund. And the progress, it's a long process. It's a tedious, long process, but hard work, I think, is going to be very important. And we will pull through to ensure that we are able to lead even in the region with our projects. At the ministry here, we've also begun the process for the Adaptation Fund to get the readiness package grant, and we're speaking to over $407,000 to strengthen the capacity within the ministry. Within the EDA, with the $17.1 million, it is spread across the PSIP projects, and within the PSIP projects, we have 3 partners. First, we'll be strengthening national forest and watershed resilience, and so we're basically re-establishing the forest lost after Hurricane Maria. And this project is being facilitated by Forestry, Wildlife and Parks Division. and it will be to the tune of over $700,000. The second component speaks to drainage and restoring roads around the Point Michel and Soufriere area, and we're speaking to more than $2.2 million, where we re-establish a 5 kilometer of drains and clean up the drains and build more than 6 culverts, catch pits and more than 550 meters of slipper drains and cover drains. So we're doing that in the southern part of the island. Mr. Speaker, the food project is a project we're doing, and this project initially is done with Public Works Division, and the food project we're working with the Ministry of Agriculture. And that's a very crucial project because it ties in nicely with what Comrade Rui spoke to last evening and how we can develop a better and more sustainable agricultural sector. So we'll speak to about $2.7 million that will help the division of agriculture. What it is going to do is going to mainstream disaster risk management within the agriculture sector. So what the project will do, Mr. Speaker, it will help to reduce the impacts of natural disasters, improve our disaster preparedness, and have a integrated plan for dealing with the agricultural sector and planning for harsh weather conditions. Mr. Speaker, we'll also assist farmers in increasing their resilience to climate change. So we will look at soil nutrition. We will look at the soil degradation and also erosion. Mr. Speaker, over $2.4 million has been allocated for component 3 of the project. And this is a very, very important one because it deals directly with communities. Mr. Speaker, we are implementing this priority project with the Jeff Small Grants Program, and we do have a number of what we call grantees across the Dominica landscape. So for instance, we have in the southeast in Lapland, we're going to upgrade the multipurpose courtier hall. We're talking about $282,000. In the Atkinson area, we will renovate the Atkinson Community Center to the tune of more than $295,000. In Salisbury, we'll be doing the First Baptist Church and Gospel Hall, and we're speaking to more than $400,000. In Montrachet, we'll work with retrofitting the Montrachet Resource Center and Shelter, and we're talking about more than $456,000. We'll head down to also in the St. Peter's Cooperative. I believe it's in Bioche. We will spend there installing hybrid solar photovoltaic systems and backup water storage in the Bioche Fisheries Multipurpose Complex. And we're speaking to more than $300,000. We're going into the valley and we're looking at the Girardel Eggleston Consumer Cooperative. They want to rehabilitate the community center, and so we'll spend more than $240,000. So as we speak, Mr. Speaker, all of the organizations have received their first disbursements. So they have received larger shares. So they have monies on their accounts. They're ready to roll, as we say. And we have disbursed more than $13,000 to get those community groups ready to do their own projects. Because we really understand, Mr. Speaker, that's important for community groups and civil society agencies to be part and parcel of the development of our country. The last component, Mr. Speaker, is one that will directly affect public servants. And we are looking at the critical issue of housing. And so about $4.8 million is allocated to be spent with the Government Housing Loans Board. What we do is to provide monies to folks under that program, following the laws that exist, at a 2% rate, where public servants can access monies to ensure they can rebuild their homes and build homes that are resilient. So, Mr. Speaker, this project stems out of our response to the effects of Hurricane Maria and the Prime Minister's vision to become the first climate resilient country. Mr. Speaker, some months ago, or some years ago, we signed onto a convention, the Montreal Protocol. We signed on that, and you're very much aware of it, Mr. Speaker. And so we're looking at substances that affect the ozone. and so what you call the ozone depleting substances. And so we have an established agreement. It's in the law. It's actually highlighted in the revised laws of 2017. And as a signatory to this protocol, we have commitments to keep. And so, Mr. Speaker, we have signed a number of small-scale agreements. And we have done so with the United Nations Environmental Programme. And in so doing, we're hoping that we can review all our ozone legislation. We want to develop capacity within the air conditioning sector. We want to raise public awareness to all of these agreements and protocols. And we will be training people across the board to deal with this. And one of the key areas we'll be targeting is the customs brokers and people who are technicians to be able to understand this. So within this budget year cycle, Mr. Speaker, we'll be expending more than $226,000 to ensure that we build capacity, and also to phase out the use of those products. We will spend more than $133,000. So, Mr. Speaker, during the last financial year, we engaged a number of consultants who assisted us in that process, and we're also using local and regional consultants to assist us. So, Mr. Speaker, we'll ensure that we train our customs officers, as I said, and also our what we call our RAC technicians, and we'll speak to more than $60,000 in that training. We'll continue to review our laws, and so, Mr. Speaker, in a nutshell, we will spend more than a $250,000 to ensure that we keep our commitments with the Montreal Protocol. Mr. Speaker, a key element of a key part of our ministry is the Forestry, Wildlife and Parks Division. We have done a lot of work as it relates to keeping nature intact, and we have been working to look at the models for smart forest products. We have been also looking at, we developed a business plan for the Cabot National Park. We're also working with the UNEP project to advance the conservation of all of those wonderful areas. Mr. Speaker, as far as the work program of the Forestry and Wildlife Division goes, we do have projects under the PSIP, which will speak to strengthen our national forest resource, and also to reforest areas across the country. Mr. Speaker, as we discuss here, there are more than 7 districts across the country. We have produced more than 300,000 plants, and community groups and schools, etc., have been able to access those plants. And as we speak, Mr. Speaker, we are mobilizing and distributing plants in the northern, central, eastern, and southern forest ranges. We do so through village councils, community organizations, churches, private landowners, etc. Mr. Speaker, agroforestry is part of this project, and so we are ensuring that there's a national effort to restore our forests. And we also speak, Mr. Speaker, to abandoned farmlands, watershed areas, and along the highways. As we speak, there are more than 20 workers dealing with those across the 4 forest ranges, and we're working with a regional partner called the PSILM. It's the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management, and we are clearing and planting in Desbois, Loda, Fortune, Bells, Simpa, Montjean, Syndicate, Soufriere. Other areas marked under this project include Laron, Tronto, Cabrit, Starrow, Concord, Penrise, Hatton Garden. And all of those areas will be able to restore the watershed areas. And we also speak, Mr. Speaker, to Batali, Laplane, and the Cooley Beach Tree watershed areas. So this financial year, the monies allocated in the budget will go towards implementing those projects. And what is interesting, Mr. Speaker, is that these sort of projects, the impact is long term. And so within the next 10 years, you will see those things are rising and the forest being restored. But what it's doing for us internationally is highlighting a number of things for us internationally. And that's why we are taken on seriously as a country, because they directly affect the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, as we say locally. So one, it will deal with poverty because these products continue to give employment to people. They will target communities across the spectrum of the Dominican space. It will also, so that's SDG 1 actually. SDG 2, it will look at zero hunger because with agroforestry, with new plants, with the food orchards being set up to mitigate against crop depredation, we will have some zero hunger. It also affects SDG 5 and 13. Five is gender equality because so within the products we ensure that we employ males and females and we ensure that there's equity along that line. The SDG 13, Mr. Speaker, speaks about climate action. So we have to, on our own as a country, take some action. We can't just sit back and say, oh, we have a nature island and it's so nice and pretty and do nothing about it. And so SDG 14 deals with that. And we will support all of our partners. And in the long run, we will look at reforesting more than 91 acres of land. And we're talking about 40,000 more fruits and forest species. Mr. Speaker, we have, through the conventions, have to deal with our national determined contributions, we call it the NDCs, which is basically our commitment to reducing green gas emissions and while improving food and water security. And we have done that. It's online on the UNFCCC's website. We have produced our NDCs and we are on the right track and we have been given great commendations for this. After Hurricane Maria in 2017, Mr. Speaker, we set up a National Resilience Development Strategy. We like to call it the NRDS, and we're in line with all of this. Within the ministry, we're dealing with the forestry, but we're also dealing with marine life and also water resources. And we capture that also in the estimates under the capital projects called rehabilitation of the trails and facilities at ecotourism sites, and also managed by the National Parks Unit or the Forestry Division. Mr. Speaker, we have been rehabilitating all of our trails as we speak. All of the trails except the segment 5 in Casabus, where we had the trough system come through. They're intact, so you can walk the trails. We have dealt with Middleham Falls, the Shimelita, the Syndicate Nature Trail. We have dealt with the Cabots National Park, Bury Lake, and Freshwater Lake. And Mr. Speaker, I must say kudos to the staff at Forestry, because I actually walked that stuff with them. And the last time the Boiling Lake was dried out, I was on a research mission, Mr. Henderson, Dr. Henderson, to see, actually went down to the lake myself and do some tests. So I take my Eisenbahn, my P's, and I walk, and I walk to make sure that the staff do what they do. While we speak about things in the budget that affects revenue stream, we realize that we have a unique product in Dominica, but for the most part, we are not able to capture the revenue in a proper way. And so we have been targeting tourist sites, eco sites. And I'm in discussion with my colleague here, Minister, to see how we can better get returns from accessing it. Because most of those areas are just too free for people. When we travel ourselves overseas, we pay tolls, we pay taxes, we pay fees. Some of those fees are even put into the tickets we buy. And so we're going to have to explore this, because this is a major revenue stream that we can pull out. In the last financial year, we've been able to pull out more than $1.1 million. Between July 2022 and May 2023, over $1.1 million was collected in user fees to our various sites. And so just imagine if we can tighten up on this, how much money we can bring into the coffers of the government. We've been working a lot with the GEF, the Global Environment Fund, and sometimes these agencies appear to be operating solo, but they're not. Actually, GEF receives a lot of money from the government, and they implement the government's project on our behalf. We have more in excess of $9.5 million for projects during the next 5 years. And we're speaking to visitor facilities, hiking trails, ecotourism sites upgrade. We want to enhance the botanical gardens. We are finalizing a ticketing system, an e-ticketing system for all of our sites across the country. So I'm happy for this. We do have an endangered species on Dominica, in the amphibian, the mountain chicken. Mr. Speaker, it's our national dish, yeah, but it is endangered. So at the division, we've been working on that, um, and we're conducting a lot of research. We also have a mountain chicken recovery program that we've invested some monies in, and we have a lot of partners who are working with us. Mr. Speaker, we have completed our Waitikobuli National Trail audit, so we know exactly what we want to do and how we're going to move forward. And these are affecting a number of livelihoods. We have recommendations from our consultants, and we have been working with the Agricultural Division to ensure that the monies under the World Bank are utilized in the best ways to ensure that we have our national trail up and running. Mr. Speaker, we realize that that the work has to continue in all of the research that we do in our space. We continue our conservation practices, which includes the planting, reforestation,
30 more
all
minutes.
of this. And Mr. Speaker, thank you. And we're also looking at lumber production as another major stream, because after Hurricane Maria, a number of trees were knocked down, and we have been able to harvest some of them using local lumberjacks. But some of them are inaccessible. But we are looking forward to exploit that in a better way. So we're not just planting random trees, but we're planting trees that we can harvest in the next 10, 15 years to ensure that we can add some value to the revenue. Mr. Speaker, during the upcoming year, we will continue all of those with the work at the industries. We'll continue the new forest setup. We will look at specific species, however. We'll look at blue maho, mahogany, gummy, the carapit, the balata, and all of those other common species that we can use for wood, blue maho, etc. We will also keep on restoring the riverbanks and ensure that we safeguard our mangroves, etc. We've been doing a lot of work, not only with paid staff, but also we've been training folks under the NEP in forestry, good practices, etc. So we've been in capacity. We work a lot with Mr. Speaker, with the 4-H clubs, church groups, and those folks working moving forward. We'll upgrade all of the sites. We'll work with National Trail. We'll also continue salvaging all of the material from the forest. Because we do have operations in Glogomie, in Simba, in Loda, and we also have machinery at our forestry department's site in Pogasi to do shingles. So we have a massive operation that can bring some more value in the forestry department. Mr. Speaker, the NEP program is with us at the ministry. It remains what they call a flagship of the Dominican Labour Party. It's a flagship. There are many good stories about this program. Many good stories. And in December this year, like it was highlighted yesterday, we will celebrate 10 years of that program. And so that program appears to me to be very sustainable. So looking at the numbers, looking at the number of people engaged, it appears to us that it is part of the engine. It's part of the engine of growth for our economy, and we are very happy for this. It plays a remarkable role in ensuring that there's social equity across the board in rural communities, etc. Mr. Speaker, the impact of the NEP has helped with alleviation of poverty, and really, Mr. Speaker, provide decent work to people across the board. In the last financial year, Mr. Speaker, we have more than 640 new interns who were granted on-the-job training opportunities, and so they have acquired new skills at the workplace. There were 60 individuals who graduated from the program, and we have more than 40 interns who were certified on the SKY project with education. We have 30 interns who received certificates in basic geriatric care. And so, Mr. Speaker, over 50% of the interns have been facilitated through credit unions and banks to ensure that they are able to access monies to develop their own self. Mr. Speaker, the Carnago Territory and Salabay has benefited also from this. We have more than 256 people within this space who are in various components of the NEP. So, Mr. Speaker, the NEP, or some people call it NEP, the NEP continues to contribute to Dominica's overall resilience and the overall health and well-being of our citizens is important. So, Mr. Speaker, during the recent fear of tropical storm Brett, we're able to use the NEP as a serious brigade to go out in the communities. So we cleaned and cleared storm drains, all of the gutters and the culverts, the cutting of the overhangs, the clearing of the riversides, clean and upkeep of the yards of elderly folks and vulnerable people. And so we have been able to add some value and have a social responsibility, Mr. Speaker. So it appears to me that the NEP works. The NEP works. And so, and even, Mr. Speaker, in the last 12 months, we have seen how beautiful the country continues to be with trees and flowers all around the country. So, and there are many benefits from this. And the social intervention for the NEP has environmental and health benefits because we are reducing carbon dioxide, we are preventing storm runoffs, and we are also benefiting from the locally grown fruits that we can all access when we drive along the roads throughout the various communities. And also, Mr. Speaker, it's helping to protect and really build up our environment. So this is serious work. We cannot take it for granted. It's not a joke. It's not a papi show thing. It's not a joke. It's a serious business we're doing. Mr. Speaker, this program is a comprehensive one because most people think that when we think of NEP, we think of clean and cutting. Well, we have people in various departments across the country. We have people in the private sector, and sometimes these private sector people don't even honor that and give credit to it. We have folks who are supporting the school system as mentors, as cleaners, as cooks, as security officers. A component of the NEP is actually taking care of the elderly folks. And across the board, we've been able to do that. So it's not a wishy-washy project. It's a comprehensive program that I believe, Mr. Speaker, will continue to help the Dominica landscape to become more resilient. So, Mr. Speaker, in the last year, we made a major investment of over $46.3 million in the NEP. In excess of $9 million was contributed towards building the strong foundation for the private sector. So the private sector have gotten 9 million of that chunk. So, Mr. Speaker, I will argue that the NEP will continue to do the country well. And I really want to thank all of the supervisors, the coordinators, Mrs. Honor and her team at the NEP, even in the cyber space, Deborah Phillip and her crew, all the people who are hardworking people who come out there, give a hard day's work for the pay that they get. And actually, we have increased the reimbursement, and so we've been able to create better opportunities for them within the space. Mr. Speaker, I'm also charged with overseeing the works at the Solid Waste Corporation, and that again is a massive enterprise. We believe at the corporation that we can raise some monies also, because we are looking at making the corporation more sustainable, and people around this room here are not paying any fees for collection. Yet some of us complain. Some people, if you do, it's a little something. The commercial enterprises across the country are not paying any fees, so we have to consider all of those, because it's a big operation to keep this country. We have to maintain our trucks, we have to pay our staff, we have to ensure that the landfill is maintained, and so it's a massive thing. I really want to thank the management there. It's tough work. Mr. Speaker, within the new cycle, we will have 3 major projects targeted within the budget. We will do the Enhanced Natural Environment Project. We will continue to do community waste storage improvement, and we do have a pilot project supported by the OECS called the Kalinago Zero Waste Project. So the corporation is mandated to take care of solid waste management in the state. And there's some things that are ascribed to us that are not really our jobs, really. But we do it because we think it's important. For example, the derelict vehicles. It's an eyesore. We think that vehicle owners should take some responsibility. Yet it becomes the responsibility of solid waste, and actually it sits with environmental health. The white goods collection should be one that is responsible ability of the homeowners and the business places, but yet we take it on, and it's a major cost to us. And so we have to look at inputting some system within a utility or some form of payment for those services. So we recognize that the staff of the corporation have been doing this hard work, and we really applaud them for the work. Mr. Speaker, there will be some measures we will look at. We'll look at polluters pay by principle. So what the amount you produce, you should pay. We should consider that. We should also have um, tighten up on our recycling and packaging legislation. It's very important because we need to separate garbage from source. We have to have waste management regulations tightened. We also look at hazardous waste because we have small mechanics operating close to water areas, etc. We have to revise our litter legislation because there's a big difference between litter and solid waste. There's a difference. So as we mix up those two, and so we realize that in the corporation that waste is actually a resource. And when I travel to conferences, I say I'm the minister of rubbish, which is and the rubbish is a resource because we can do waste to energy. We can recycle glass bottles like what's happened with Benjo Simas. We could do the recycling of plastics, which are now presently being baled at the corporation site, and we can export all of that. We can compress the raw iron and metal material, and this can be recycled. So all of this we're going to push. At COP27 in Glasgow a couple days ago, I signed an agreement with the Switzerland government seeking to advance Dominica's agenda as articulated in the INDC. That is to reduce the GHG emissions by 70% by 2030. Since then, we have been having discussions with Click Foundation as to how we can provide alternative at the landfill. And so we really want to look at waste to energy as a small piece, Doc, to add to the geothermal. So we will really be sustainable and energy sufficient. We have solar, we will have geothermal, which is the kicker here, the bigger boy in the room, and we have the waste to energy, and of course we have a small hydro as part of it. So all of that is important, Mr. Speaker. Members, through you, Mr. Speaker, we've been expending a lot of money in our projects across the country. We have been delivering residential bins across the country. So we have delivered over 1,500 bins, and each bin is about $220. So it means that we have spent in the last year over $350,000 to bins to residential areas. We have moved more than 172 derelict vehicles. And doing the calculation, the truck, the fuel, the drivers, so we have spent more than $90,000 moving derelict vehicles across the country. Bulky waste and white goods, we have made 150 trips to the landfill, 150 trips from over 30 communities across the country. And we're talking about more than $115,000. We've been doing litter management. The Corporation for Sonia Felix, I want to hail her up today, and her team has improved litter management and overall cleanliness in the city of Roseau. I really commend her for that. And I don't think we can ignore the work that those folks are doing to ensure that the city is clean. Mr. Speaker, we've also been doing residential waste collection through, like we said during the campaign, through thunder, rain, storm, shine. We've been cleaning up the country, and this, my friends, Mr. Speaker, has been no cost to the residents of our country. So we've been doing our work. The government itself has made some investments apart from the subvention every year. We have procured a new excavator at the cost of $500,000 for the corporation, and we have also spent more than $250,000 to buy a new tipper truck to ensure that so we can deal with the bio waste from across the country. So we ourselves have been making some intervention. Mr. Speaker, in this budget here, we're going to push ahead. We're going to improve our recycling system through the OECS project. We're going to do our waste to energy. We're going to actually develop a waste to energy facility. We will look at sustainable financing, so we're going to explore and introduce the pay for principle idea, included maybe in our utility bills. We're also looking at litter reduction. We have installed more than 25 bins. These are the free section bins in Roseau, for instance, and also in Portsmouth and on tourism sites. Mr. Speaker, education is important, and so we'll spend some monies to educate the public on various best practices within that sector.
15 more minutes.
So, Mr. Speaker, and so there are many, many reasons, as I sort of wrap up, there are many, many reasons why our Labour Party government, with our PSIP, our social safety net programs, and our softer skills are important. They assist, of course, with economic growth, because we know that a well-developed and skilled person workforce can drive our economy. Mr. Speaker, with all of the skills and knowledge, we can be more productive and we can contribute more. And really, Mr. Speaker, it boosts our overall development. Our program have also helped poverty reduction over the years, and because equipped with the right skills, constituencies and constituents across the country can get better paying jobs, and some can even start their own businesses. Mr. Speaker, there's a massive number of people engaged on the Dominica Work Online program. And just last week, earlier this month, sorry, 92 folks in the Carnago space from Atkinson and Trizz also were at a town hall meeting as they attempted to learn about the program. And once successful, more of my constituents will be engaged to make themselves better and support their families. Mr. Speaker, the constituency continues to benefit from the NEP, if the cooks, the mentors, and all of those folks within that space. Mr. Speaker, all of those Labour Party programs, and it has to be that, it's not just the government program, it's a Labour Party program. They really create social stability. And that's important. We sort of browse over it quickly sometimes, because it is giving people the opportunity for their own personal growth, internal growth. And what it also does, it empowers people and it makes them feel part of the society. Our programs also have been able to have people adapt to change. We see that very, very clear in the COVID-19. We have to adapt and to move forward and change. Mr. Speaker, apart from the softer parts of development, we have also done a lot of infrastructural work across the country. Within the various constituencies, we've been able to build projects within what we can normally call the marginalized communities, the country. And so we're able to do that. And so my constituency is a prime example. So all of these services that are in Roseau and Portsmouth are within the Carnago space. We continue to have access to education, to healthcare, to the markets. We're able to reduce the disparities between the constituencies. We have maintained all our schools, all our roads. And so the brand new Seneco school is coming up. I've seen the design. It's going to be Darren, the member for St. Jose, is going to be a wonderful edifice, I suspect. And so we have done all of those. And these are major investments under the CBI project. We have also built the resilience in disaster in the community against disaster, because we are now designing our homes and infrastructure properly. And in the Canada space, we have been able to benefit from 50 homes from the EU, more than 120 something from the HRP project. The multipurpose center is happening. We're attributing the Atkinson Resource Center. We are also upgrading the Farmer Service Center in Gullet River. So all of these, with our stronger buildings, Mr. Speaker, and early warning systems, we can save lives in terms of emergency. We are also improving the public services and governance. And so, what appears to me, Mr. Speaker, as I really going to wrap up, that there has to be a marriage between the softer part of development and the infrastructural part. And so our well-trained workforce will come up with solutions to dealing with our challenges. We've been able, for the most part, to develop our agro-processing sector. We have beauty products on the market, essential oils, assorted food products. The cassava producers in the Kanagos territory have benefited. They added value to their products, and even to the small team of young ladies who call themselves the Easy Side Delicacies. They will receive a Golden Drum Award for the work that they've been doing. So it means that the work that we've been doing with the UNDP, in the last 3 months, we were able to provide them with more than $339,000 worth of equipment in that cassava sector to make it more resilient. We have also introduced technologies within our space across the country. And so, for example, we established the Innovation Hub in Sensi in Kalnago territory, and it provides internet service in a Wi-Fi mesh network through the NTRC. And even now, Mr. Speaker, this center is the command center in military terms, I suspect. It's a command center in terms of emergencies like hurricanes. So, Mr. Speaker, we have been doing our piece as a government to ensure that the human capacity is done and billing is done. We know that to be an equal partner in the developing community, we have to have well-developed infrastructure, and that makes us more marketable on the global space. But we are also enhancing productivity, and the employees and entrepreneurs are becoming more and more competent, and that means that we're going to improve the productivity. Good infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, as I wrap up, facilitates the movements of goods and efficient trade and commerce. This is very evident in the East Coast Road. It comes through Boatia, through the Casibus community, goes through Canada space and Tobago. And it means that in the next couple of months, once it's done, we're able to reduce transportation costs and enhance the connectivity between our communities. And so we can line easily to the East Coast. Our new international airport, it's a no-brainer. It will open up not just access to our country, but access to markets out of our country. And as we speak, a number of people from my constituency are engaged on that site as truck drivers, as mechanics, laborers, security officers. So they're there in Wesley, in Granscon community there. So our investment in our citizens and our built infrastructure allows us to have sustainable development. And so by empowering those folks, we're able to make the country better and equal. Our geothermal project is a reality. And so we have drilled, we have tested. We're now setting up our production plant. We eventually go into green hydrogen because it's very it takes on a lot of energy consumption. And so I really want to salute Dr. Vincent Henderson on that move because we are partnering in this, and so we can have a better future. Mr. Speaker, all of those projects and programs have impacted heavily on the workforce. And so we have a significant number of people in the housing project, in the roadworks project, in the international airport project. So as a result of all of those projects and programs, we are creating a big employment opportunity for constituents. And so all of those people living within the Cyber constituency are benefiting from that. Even as we speak, Mr. Speaker, Dawasco is literally laying pipes in the Cyber constituency. And we're talking about $3.6 million to lay pipe in the Cyber constituency. And we have local contractors and people engaged. So all of these are things we're doing, and these are massive investments by the government. We are realigning all of the street lights, the lamp poles across what I like to call the Lawrence Darrow Highway. So in the coming weeks, we will install solar lights in the Atkins and Trizil area. And so, Mr. Speaker, our government understands human development and human capacity development. Also, our government understands infrastructure development. And so, it's not by chance we invest in education, training, skill building, etc. And so, Mr. Speaker, I really just want to say that Dr. Mark, that the budget really covers all the bases, tick all the right boxes. And I think it will be better for us, and I think for the generations to come. And especially those who share Carnival heritage will be very happy to know that I participate in this process, and that we can develop people in a good way and develop our country, because we have gone through many struggles. Earlier today, the, the, the pen to paper initiative was concluded at the U with our Calypso King. And it's a good intervention because I'm a musician. I have been given a thumbs up by the cabinet to work on the orange economy. So that's a new piece of revenue we can target in the next cycle. It is also called the creative industries. So I'm happy to close by saying I am supporting all of the artists. I just across there we see some tents being set up for an event, and these people are adding value to our product as a country. So so friends, we are heading to the Golden Drum Awards this evening, and also the launch of the World Creole Music Festival. And so we really want to say that the orange economy will grow in the next cycle. And the next time I stand in Parliament, I'll be able to produce something that will entice people into the creative arts. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank all the people in the Salibia constituency, from Wakamo to Pego. We're talking about Siniku, Mar River, Gold River, Sensi, Salibia, Balaka, Crevice River, Andrizzle, Concord, Atkinson, for allowing me to stand and speak on their behalf. And there's so much more I could say. I wanted maybe 3 hours, and I'm very happy for the listening public who have supported throughout. I'm happy for the colleagues to bear with me this afternoon on a Friday month end day to listen to me express my sentiments on the wonderful budget presented this year. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Yes, Palret, before you start, I just wanted to just make a little comment. I would just want to just refer members to, just not all members, but according to Bob Marley, who the cap fit, let them wear it. Standing Order 48A says, during a meeting of the House, a member, that's A, shall enter or leave the House with decorum. Now, generally members are following it, the rules, you know, but there are one or two people that they move in a little too casual. And I'm speaking to honorable members and also to strangers in the house. This house is not no casual business. So we have to be in our P's and Q's and remember where we are. When you go out, you bow to the chair, you re-enter, you do the same. You understand? We have to take this matter very seriously. Let's proceed. It wasn't for you, Palrep, not because you were standing, I said that, but yeah, it wasn't you, it's not you. But I do not want to embarrass anybody, no. But in the future, I will call on the person. The person is consistently doing it, it's a particular person. So let us proceed. Yeah, let us proceed. Yes, I recognize you, Honorable Joseph, the parliamentary representative here. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And good afternoon to everyone. Mr. Speaker, I stand before you and this honorable House with great humility and a sense of immense pride and gratitude as I address this August hearing for the very first time as the youngest parliamentarian ever in the history of Dominica. It is truly a privilege and an honor to represent the aspirations and ambitions of the people of the Peebush constituency and the country by extension, whom have entrusted their faith and confidence in me. Thank you, Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, for seeing something that not many people saw. Honorable Roye and Honorable Defoe, for your leadership and guidance. P.S. Sevre, for your unmatched wisdom and unwavering support. And to all of my colleagues and support staff for your patience and understanding. As we embark on this journey together, I am acutely aware of the immense responsibility bestowed upon us to shape the future of our beloved country in one of the most difficult periods, both locally and internationally. Mr. Speaker, allow me to extend warm greetings to the most culturally diverse people of the Pebush constituency, both here and abroad. P.S. Paul Loom, greetings to you. To our farmers, fishers, agro-processors, agripreneurs, and my constituents, warm greetings. Mr. Speaker, permit me to refer to my notes occasionally as I dissect
Your
this
permission
presentation.
granted.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, there are two important themes that will define the Ministry of Agriculture's quest to transforming the agricultural sector into a productive, effective, and efficient contributor to economic growth in Dominica: agricultural resilience and agricultural sustainability. These are the two basic concepts very often used to summarize our vision for agriculture. Mr. Speaker, our capacity to feed, clothe, and house ourselves will require our full attention on the entire socio-economic ecosystem, that is, our agri-food system comprising of the physical environment, the social circles, and the economic welfare of our people. We call this budget the farmer's budget for obvious reasons. It's the people's budget. Recognizing our vulnerabilities to both external shocks, such as intense tropical weather conditions, international trade disruptions and pandemics, and internal challenges, such as availability of production inputs, farm road access, and farm labor, our task ahead is to pursue a strategy that allows for the overall contribution of 700 million by 2030 to economic growth, captured, recorded, and accounted for. Mahatma Gandhi, Mr. Speaker, has warned that to forget how to dig the earth and to tend to the soil is to ultimately forget ourselves. Food production for us remains a hallmark of our existence, and we are not simply producers of food, but the providers of the nation's nutritional needs and requirements. But, Mr. Speaker, there is undoubtedly a need to develop and sustain a secure food supply, as the external and internal factors that threaten our food sovereignty demand a completely different approach to our view and action in prioritizing efforts at achieving greater food security in Dominica and the region. Agro-processing, agripreneurship, value addition. It is within this context, Mr. Speaker, that this budget provides allocation for increased food production with three clear market-driven outlets in mind: food for local consumption, food for regional and international exports, and food as raw materials for value addition or agro-processing. Mr. Speaker, our ability to achieve the goals of a well-developed and defined agricultural sector, inclusive of agro-processing, depend on the efficient use of all food resources produced and a clear strategy to develop the capacity of entrepreneurs and agro-processors to transform these food products into innovative and sustainable finished products that are market-ready. Mr. Speaker, we are certainly aware of the high level of consumption of some of the most harmful and dangerous raw and processed food that we all so love so much: pasteurized livestock and plant-based milk, cheese, sausages, smoked, salted, and dried fish, meats, and fruits, flour, rice, potatoes, beers, wines, fruit juices, coffee, frozen and packaged vegetables, and the list goes on and on and on, contributing to a total food import bill of over 126 million EC dollars. But Mr. Speaker, I have good news. We have in this budget allocated just over $56 million to rectify this constraint by over 25% before 2025. And the reality is, Mr. Speaker, we have the ability and opportunity to produce all of the above mentioned products and so much more, as the extent of the local market for food commodities provide just a glimpse of the golden gateway available to our cottage industries and commercial entrepreneurs, in addition to the avenue for development of the agro-processing sector to increase value-added output for regional trade expansion. Mr. Speaker, we at the Ministry of Agriculture are on a mission to locating and developing a cadre of entrepreneurs who can and are currently adding value to our agricultural produce to develop enriched, flavored, and packaged foods, beauty supplies and skincare products, medical alternatives, and other agro-processed goods. Mr. Speaker, a government without a mission is a government lost. So here are the components involved in achieving this mission, and I will list them briefly. A comprehensive needs assessment, which has already begun, capacity building, availability of and access to finance, infrastructural development, market research and development, regulatory support, monitoring and evaluation, networking and collaboration, and lastly, continued cooperation and support. Mr. Speaker, there is a critical role of the agro-processing industry in the overall development and satisfaction of the agricultural sector, which is why we give our unwavering support to the Honorable Minister of Finance budget presentation. We will need these products to capitalize on the opportunities presented as we increase airlift capacity, tourist visits, and stay-over visitors in Dominica to 500,000 by 2030. These air and seaport transportation media will certainly need access to prepackaged, raw, and processed healthy food options for frequent long-haul flights, supplied to the hotels, restaurants, and Airbnbs consistently, and the hundreds of tourism, agriculture, construction, and other service providers demanding these products on a daily basis. That's the guarantee, however, of the upcoming international airports and the developments across the island. Therefore, we are resetting our agricultural programs to create an environment that provides a regulatory, technical, and financial support, for it is the opportune time to take the agro-processing sector to the next level and position the farmers, fishers, and processors to reap maximum benefits from these efforts. In the coming weeks, Mr. Speaker, we will continue our ongoing visits and engagements with the producers and processors, the related organizations and entities, as well as potential investors and allies. Too often, Mr. Speaker, we have priced ourselves out of markets and find ourselves in positions where we conclude that there are no markets for our crops, livestock, and other products. But the truth is, there are too many, and need I say they are more than enough. With these investments and support measures outlined in this year's budget, we will assist farmers in ensuring that variety and breeds of the highest quality for processing are provided at affordable rates that make the final product less expensive and more competitive. Mr. Speaker, permit me to briefly speak to the allocation of funds to the National Youth in Agriculture Program, launched in March of this year, just over $1 million EC dollars. This program targets and caters specifically to the youth for sustainable and innovative agricultural ventures, climate-smart agriculture, agro-processing, large-scale production, and so much more. Further, our agricultural mandate through this Youth in Agriculture program allows for the redesign and relaunch of the umbrella organization NIA, introduction of the Young Farmers and Farmers Group Directory, enterprise development training, Friends of NIA, the formation of the Youth in Agriculture Desk, and the national profiling of youth in agriculture. This program certainly guarantees support for young farmers, fishers, and processors. Mr. Speaker, we are pledging our support to entrepreneurs who are willing to preserve and add value to the commodities that form a large component of our food imports. We pledge our support to women and youth, farmer groups, and aspiring entrepreneurs blazing the trail. I implore all of you to embrace the opportunities available for training, improving standards, branding, labeling, and packaging, increasing storage, handling, and processing capacity. Mr. Speaker, the opportunities are endless. And my only advice at this moment to the young farmers and processors out there, like the famous artist said, let's make something happen. Mr. Speaker, prawns, tilapia, lobster and other seafood, simos, coconut, cassava, toloma, breadfruit, potatoes, castor, cocoa, coffee. We can and will certainly make something happen. Now, Mr. Speaker, as the self-proclaimed, right, as the self-proclaimed and self-appointed ambassador of agro-processing, I am on a mission to transform in this industry, from coconut to beauty products, from cassava to wholesome healthy snacks, from breadfruit and sweet potato to chips, from tomato to sauce, from CMOS to gels and energy drinks, from fruits to jams, jellies, and confectionaries, from potato to fries, from milk to dairy products, from toloma to infant and elderly supplements, from herbs, to essential oils, from beeswax to balms. Mr. Speaker, we are going to make it happen. Now, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, follow me for a brief moment. And going through the budget, I did some quick maths, right? And being the coconut specialist myself, right? 1 hectare of land, Mr. Charles, Senator Charles, 1 hectare of land, Honorable Charles, about 2.5 acres will accommodate 200 coconut plants in low density plantations. In high density plantations, about 280 plants, and in ultra high density areas, 480 plants. Right? Fruiting and harvesting would commence in the 4th year with hybrid varieties, producing about 200 nuts per year, with one tree bearing no fewer than 600 years. So therefore, when I did my quick maths, 200 trees by 5,000 acres, by 200 coconuts, by dollar a coconut, by 20 coconuts per bottle of coconut oil, by $60, by 60 years is 700 million by 20 years. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, remember I am the self-proclaimed and self-appointed ambassador of what? Agro-processing. And I am the coconut specialist. So when I tell you I do my maths, I do my maths. Now, Mr. Speaker, as we advance expansion in the industry, there are 4 critical inputs that will be required in large volumes, and in order for us to realize the true gains from increased agricultural output, we must pay attention to 1, planting materials, 2, animal feed, 3, fertilizers, and agrochemicals. Thus, we'll be providing direct support and investment in the production of these outputs. From organic grass mulches and fertilizers to cassava-based poultry feed, we are really putting our money where our mouths are. Mr. Speaker, while the highest level of informality is thought to be found in the agricultural sector, there is a willingness to wait for crops to grow, animals and fish to mature, and money to be received weeks after selling produce. It is this willingness and patience we seek as we drive this sector forward. Now, Mr. Speaker, enough about agro-processing and agriculture. I think my Minister for Agriculture and my fisheries expert has said enough. So to my constituents of the Paybush constituency, Kalibishi, Benz, Ansdime, Ansolder, Paybush, Teplat, Wamopak, and Providence. From day one, you have had my stern commitment and diligence, and the same energy was reciprocated. Mr. Speaker, permit me to take this special time to thank Honorable Rosalind Paul for her continued leadership and service over the past 2 terms and for her guidance and support these past 7 months. Mr. Speaker, being a Paleb, I've realized that it's a very, very lonely place. You either only see somebody when they need something or when something goes wrong. And when times are good, you see them too. But when you lay on your bed, you realize that there's nobody around, even if you know that you have hundreds and thousands of people on your side. So I want to thank the people of the Paybush constituency, and most of all, I want to thank Honorable Rosalind Paul for her support and her guidance over this period. But Mr. Speaker, we have witnessed the completion of several projects, including the Walls and Road Reconstruction Project, the Bopla and Middle Ridge feeder roads to a tune of $6.8 million, and the extensive housing recovery efforts and business support. Currently, 16 housing units are nearing completion at the Asiplat Paybush Housing Project, and we are optimistic that the same will be extended to Simon Benz and Kalibishi. The Let's Grow initiative is ongoing, Mr. Speaker, providing, engaging, and empowering over 160 young persons and young farmers in backyard gardening through a seedling program. Our youngest farmer, Ms. Chade Sirius, is only 9 years old. There has also been tremendous emphasis placed on personal, enterprise, and community development, and so support has been extended to over 25 small businesses and community-oriented organizations. While we have not yet seen the formal opening of the Anzime Health and Wellness Center, it is in full operation, and my constituents and nurses have a brand new facility thanks to the Dominican Labour Party. Mr. Speaker, the Anzime Jetty, the long-awaited development, will also soon come to fruition. We will be establishing at least 50 acres of coconuts within the constituency to support the coconut water and dry nut industries. The water improvement project at Kalibishi under the Basic Needs Trust Fund is also on the cards. We will be working toward the construction of the Paybush Cultural Center, a much-needed piece of infrastructure in that community. Mr. Speaker, the upgrading and adequate lighting of the Anzime playing field and Benz basketball court, and the rehabilitation of the basketball courts at Paybush and Kalibishi will also commence soon. I am elated to inform the people of Kalibishi, our students, parents, teachers, and the entire community that the contract for the Kalibishi Primary School has been signed and sealed. And on behalf of my people, I extend great thanks to the Chinese government for this piece of infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, we'll also commence improvement on the Shodiapur Road
10 more minutes.
And related facilities in the coming weeks. I will ensure that my constituents continue to take advantage of the 3% loans at the Aid Bank and the many training opportunities available from the small business unit. I want to say to Honorable Grant that we are taking the international airport upon ourselves. You know we are a tourism community, a farming community, and an agro-processing community. We shall position ourselves to take full advantage of the opportunities that this international airport will present. Mr. Speaker, as a first-time parliamentarian, I recognize the monumental significance of this moment, not only for myself, but for the thousands of young minds across our nation seeking a brighter and more prosperous future. I am committed to not only serving as a parliamentary representative and secretary, but as a voice for all citizens, recognizing that age, gender, religion, or backgrounds are no boundaries. Conclusively, Mr. Speaker, I once more support wholeheartedly a budget, a crucial instrument that will guide our nation's economic course for the upcoming fiscal year. We approach this task with a clear 2020 vision and horse-powered intellect to foster an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient economy, leaving no one behind. Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the Peebush constituency. Thank you, Dominica, and may God bless you all.
I recognize Honorable Pinard. Honorable Pinard, you may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House, esteemed colleagues, I rise today to make my contribution to the 2023-2024 Appropriation Act before this honorable House. Mr. Speaker, I beg your permission to read from my notes during this presentation.
Permission is granted.
Mr. Speaker, my ministry stands at a critical juncture, poised to contribute meaningfully to the transformation of Dominica's growing economy. We stand poised to pave the way for a stronger and more vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem. The focus of the Entrepreneurship and Small Business Unit is underpinned by our financial, our technical, and our operational support provided to all small and medium-sized businesses. We've added focus on those within the value-added industries and the agro-processing industry, as well as our manufacturing, our agro-tourism, and our digitally oriented businesses. In this budget, we have also made allowance for additional operational support through the provision of operating facilities for manufacturing, agro-processing, and other strategically aligned small businesses. Mr. Speaker, I will focus my remarks on the youth of our nation, my ministry's position on gender equity within the context of this budget, and how we are considering our indigenous Kalinago brothers and sisters, and our differently abled persons in the formulation of our programs. I will also show how our efforts will align with the government's investment projects, such as the International Airport, the Cabrit Marina, and the Cable Car project. Mr. Speaker, I also intend to speak about an initiative which will address the growing concern of wastage on our local fruits and other produce. Mr. Speaker, this year we will experience the advent of a new era in Dominica's economic development, where our fruits will no longer drop and rot, but rather, through stimulation of agro-processing, we will see increased demand and supply within the circular economy. Mr. Speaker, over the past 10 years, the government has invested in excess of $27 million to enhance small businesses. These investments have yielded in excess of $54.6 million in returns, indicating that for every dollar we give to a small business, we get 2 in return. This is noteworthy as it illustrates that the government investment over the years have had a pivotal impact on our small businesses that are contributing meaningfully to the creation of jobs and Dominica's gross domestic product. Mr. Speaker, the Entrepreneurship and Small Business Support Unit continues to provide various services, inclusive of grant financing, advisory or hand-holding services, training, and operational support. We facilitate small businesses obtaining fiscal incentive licenses, and we have arranged small businesses trade shows, platforms, and business-to-business forums, to name but a few. Over the financial year 2022-2023, over 400 businesses benefited from the varied services offered by the Small Business Support Unit. In this new financial year, the Small Business Unit will augment and expand its services We will be steering the implementation of several projects, programs, and activities designed to boost the performance of small businesses while furthering our national interests and our priorities. Mr. Speaker, whilst in the public service, a simplified description of small businesses are those earning $250,000 or less. However, we appreciate that other factors may be considered in describing a small businesses. Factors such as the value of the total assets or the number of employees are also critical in looking at the categorizing a business. Mr. Speaker, such at present, we don't have a national, a universal description or definition for what entails a small businesses. And so it is because of that, the small business unit will be putting together the small business policy that will create a universal description of what a small business constitutes in Dominica. Now that policy will guide government's policies. It will help us focus and target our programs so that we can know that we are targeting the exact number of businesses, and then we can be able to pull in the statistics on how these programs have been operating. Are they successful? Are they not successful? Because if we put in place programs to target a particular size of business, we want to know that that is the same size, that is the same business that the banks, that the other bigger businesses will be putting into that same category. And then they will be also, the reaction to those businesses will be what we expect it to be, and then we can analyze the results of our programs. So in this year, we will be putting together the small business policy. Mr. Speaker, over the past 10 years, the government has invested Mr. Speaker, we are elated that in the coming year, our government has chosen to continue the grants intervention to deserving small businesses, as reflected by the $500,000 that has been allocated in the budget. We will direct your attention to the $27,000 grant facility that will also soon be made available to the small business seeking to build or expand their digital capacity, as informed by the Honorable Grant from the Wesley constituency in his presentation yesterday. Mr. Speaker, we remain cognizant of the challenges many of our small business owners face in accessing the necessary financing needed to start or expand the business. For many of us, loans are either unavailable or they are unaffordable, and equity financing is simply not available. However, we also understand the importance of small businesses' contribution to job creation and to our economy is unmatched. And so it is imperative that we spare no effort in ensuring that Dominica has a strong and vibrant small business sector. In the upcoming weeks, we will begin the development of relevant performance targets and performance indicators, as well as the means to capture the relevant data that will allow us to gauge our performance against the performance targets that we have set. Mr. Speaker, that is meant to ensure that we have increased accountability and efficiency in the operations of the small businesses. Because whilst we might be providing the correct support to small businesses, if it is not done in a timely fashion, then the impact will be muted. So what we're looking to do, Mr., in the spirit of the reset, is to increase accountability and efficiency within the operations of the small business, so that the small business owners and the small businesses can benefit from the maximum, can get the maximum benefit from the government's programs and the government support that we put in place. Mr. Speaker, the value-adding industries have long been recognized as critical drivers of economic development. They create jobs and they diversify the economic base. With the weight of our economy shifting towards agricultural development and higher value-added production, it is imperative to upgrade our infrastructure and strengthen our support for promoting innovation and technological improvement in our manufacturing and service industries. This budget allocates a substantial $1.15 million to enable these industries to innovate and grow, providing critical support for the upskilling, modernization, and digitization. When we speak of support to value-added industries, our focus extends from manufacturing to services, from agri-processing to technology. The Dominican Labour Party government, led by our Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, is committed to investing in infrastructure that allows these industries to grow and flourish. Apart from this funding, if a young citizen of Dominica wants to utilize their IT skills, my ministry will collaborate with the Ministry of the Digital Economy to leverage the digital hubs around Dominica to set up shared workspaces that are already equipped with high-speed internet and other modern facilities to aid startups, entrepreneurships seeking to develop value-added digital products and services. This, we believe, will not only increase their competitiveness, but will significantly contribute to the national income. Support to producers of local juices, Mr. Speaker. The juice production sector, which represents an integral part of our local agriculture and agro-processing industry, will receive added attention this year. We have a budgetary allocation of $1 million that has been committed to support our juice producers. Investments will be made in capacity building initiatives. We will enhance access to financing, plants and equipment, and the promotion of market access for our local juice producers. This targeted program is not conceived in isolation, as it supports our goal to have agriculture and affiliated downstream businesses increase their GDP contribution to the minimum of $700 million by 2030. This program will therefore require collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Trade. Our objective is to create an organized market for our growers, ensuring that their produce is sold at a fair price. The initiative will not only encourage our existing farmers, but it will also hopefully attract more people towards farming, thus further strengthening our agricultural sector. Mr. Speaker, we also recognize the paradox that whilst we have an abundance of fruits during certain seasons, leading to wastage, there is a scarcity during the off-seasons when the demand remains high, and we are determined to help address this issue. Our support to local juice producers will assist with tackling this issue by promoting and developing the agro-processing industry, particularly the production of juices. We can make better use of our fruits during the peak season. This will not only reduce waste, but it will also provide an opportunity to preserve the fruits in the form of juices, which can then be supplied year-round. This will effectively extend the lifespan of our seasonal fruits, ensuring that their value is retained and enjoyed beyond their natural seasons. In addition, our initiative to provide rental facilities for manufacturing and agro-processing is another step towards mitigating fruit wastage. With access to such facilities, more local entrepreneurs can engage in agro-processing, further increasing our capacity to preserve fruits during the peak season. Mr. Speaker, in March 2022, the government gave the Aid Bank $27.8 million to provide loans at a concessionary rate of 3% to small businesses. Now, these funds form another layer of support to alleviate the challenge of small businesses accessing financing. Mr. Speaker, as at June 30th, 2023, 277 loans have been approved with a total of $16.5 million. We are pleased with the uptake of this facility so far, Mr. Speaker, and we encourage all our small businesses to take full advantage of this opportunity to access low-cost financing. We also encourage those who have taken loans under that facility to be mindful of your financial and your civic responsibility. You need to service your loans on time, because the monies that you repay into the facility will again become available for further lending, and so the total amount that will be lent under that facility can far exceed the original $27.8 million that was deposited onto the account. Mr. Speaker, our government recognizes the added difficulties that our Kalinago brothers and sisters face. Beyond the prolonged prejudicial and disrespectful treatment that they have had been subjected to by former administrations, their land ownership challenge is a unique one that often disadvantages them in accessing credit through the standard means. But we believe that our Kalinagos, our indigenous people, our first people, must have an equal opportunity to prosper, and we owe them no less. The facility at the Aid Bank gives special consideration to our Kalinago brothers and sisters. Mr. Cozy Frederick, you can clap now. Our Kalinago brothers and sisters will get a further concessionary rate of 2%. Mr. Speaker, I apologize for addressing Cozy directly. Can get a further concessionary rate of 2%. And my ministry is also partnering with the Kalinago Council and other established groups in the reserve to enhance the entrepreneurship skills of our indigenous people. Moreover, in our drive to strengthen the private sector relationships, we have ensured that the concerns and the aspirations of the Kalinago are heard and they are incorporated into our policies and into our programs. Their unique perspective can enrich our policy-making decisions and our processes, leading to solutions that better cater to unique needs. Mr. Speaker, in the past year, my ministry collaborated with the Organization of American States, the OAS, to implement the Women Economic Empowerment Project in Dominica. EC $4.3 million have been secured for the WE project, which will benefit 6 countries in the OECS and 3 in Central America. The main objective of the WE project is to enhance the capacity of women entrepreneurs and women-led small businesses to use and benefit from the digital economy. Mr. Speaker, to date, 77 women are actively participating in the project. 18 of them are startups, 34 are near market ready, and 25 are market ready businesses. Though financial assistance is of paramount importance, non-financial assistance also plays a critical systematic role which enables business development. In the year 2022-2023, 500 small businesses benefited from direct and indirect outreach interventions, and therefore I am elated to inform this Honorable House that in this financial year, the unit will be adding decentralized services from a community-based perspective. The intention, Mr. Speaker, is to collaborate with the Ministry of the Digital Economy by utilizing the digital hubs across Dominica to offer these services. Additionally, this initiative also includes town hall-style meetings to raise awareness amongst small business owners on our available services, incentives, and initiatives. Fiscal incentive concession license, Mr. Speaker. I am pleased to report that our Labour Party government has seen the need to provide the small business sector, most notably businesses making less than $250,000, the opportunity to benefit from import duty waivers. This money being left in being left in the pockets of our small business owners at the expense of the consolidated funds. Truly, our government is leaving no stone unturned in its attempt to support small businesses. Mr. Speaker, the availability of platforms where small businesses can gain brand recognition income generation, and networking opportunities is crucial to their development and their market reach. These small businesses, in most cases, do not have substantial budgets to create that level of exposure for themselves. The unit is therefore filling this void by hosting trade shows, and this year we took it to a whole new level. Over the past year, we hosted the Business to Business Forum and the T Village Quail. And over a 2 days period, we also hosted the Small Business Health and Wellness Trade Show at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. 83 small businesses from across Dominica benefited from this lucrative event, and we will continue to provide critical support to our small businesses in this coming financial year. Our next trade show has already been planned, it's already on the books, Mr. Speaker. We are looking to provide a trade show for small businesses engaged in the fauna and flora business in December of 2023. So that is something to look out for. Mr. Speaker, another part of our non-financial support to small businesses is that of provided in collaboration with the Dominica Bureau of Standards. The aim of our collaboration is to ensure that locally processed and manufactured products meet the necessary standards to compete in the domestic, regional, and international markets. Through this partnership, we will facilitate enhanced product quality and competitiveness, thereby enabling access to wider markets. We intend to establish a sustainable framework for ongoing support to small businesses, enabling them to continuously meet standards and access necessary certification services. Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party government recognizes that the youth are not just our future, they are our present, and we are committed to making them everything they can be. Lakia, you can clap too. We are doing all in our power to ensure that our youth get every opportunity to realize their full potential, to fulfill their destinies, and to grow into the leaders that we need them to be. Our government has put in place well-known and popular programs to support our youth. We have the 40 and under housing support program that gives persons of 40 years and under $10,000 to help build, furnish, or improve their homes. We give free education from kindergarten all the way through to the state college. We give books, uniforms, shoes, and passage support to children in primary and high schools. We offer free medical treatment at all our government facilities for all persons under the age of 18. We have established the Dominica Youth Business Trust, which supports our youth in a wide range of business-related supports, including training, mentorship, credit guarantees, and more. And we recently passed 5 family bills into law that are structured to provide the strongest support to our youth and other vulnerable members. Mr. Speaker, for many of us, we're approaching our twilight. And our hope is that we can enjoy... and our hope is that... Mr. Speaker, I am approaching my twilight.
Yes, yes. Fact you for clarifying.
And Mr. Speaker, my hope is that I will see a future. We will leave a strong future in the hands of our youth and those who are coming after. But we recognize and we appreciate this is a changed and ever-changing world that they have inherited. We now live in the age of technology and digital transformations with new ways of doing things, of thinking, and of interacting with each other, and of doing business, of course. This is the world where blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, and 3D printing are becoming as natural and basic tools to this generation as a calculator was to Miss Bonnie. Furthermore, competition is no longer from our neighbor down the road. In order to succeed and to thrive in this changed world, our young people must be equipped with skills and resources that are needed to compete on a global level. A young IT technician in Dominica will be competing for jobs alongside a young technician sitting in Japan or China, the US, Europe, Africa. To succeed, we must rise to the occasion. We must lift our youth to that global occasion. At the small business unit, we appreciate the challenge and the responsibility resting on our young people's shoulders, and we are stepping up to the plate to assist. Small businesses of a digital and technical nature are prioritized in the small business unit. We will do all within our power and partner with other ministries and agencies to ensure that all suitable candidates that show the necessary potential and promise to succeed in this new cutting-edge sector will get the maximum support from the government. We recognize that their success is Dominica's success. There is no doubt that this government is doing everything to support our young people to rise to the challenge and to succeed. Mr. Speaker, it is our government's sincere belief that all of our citizens, including the differently abled, must be active participants in our nation's growth. At the small business unit, our approach is twofold. We are enhancing accessibility and we are creating opportunities. In both respects, the budget and the plans from our ministry have several initiatives that will positively impact the differently abled. For value-added industries and local juice producers, we aim to create an inclusive environment that supports the differently able and support them in obtaining employment or becoming entrepreneurs. Specialized training programs will be developed to accommodate the different styles of disabilities, ensuring that everyone can acquire the necessary skills to participate in these industries and live fulfilling lives. In the rental facilities program for manufacturing and agro-processing, we will strive to implement universal design principles, making sure the facilities are accessible and usable by all, regardless of physical limitations. We will also work to ensure that any training or support provided is accessible and adapted to the needs of the differently enabled. In strengthening private sector relations, we will encourage businesses to implement inclusive hiring practices and create accessible workspaces. We will advocate for policies that ensure that everyone have equal access to job opportunities and can contribute their skills and talents to our country. As a party and as a government, we will remain true to our guiding principle that all shall eat. Mr. Speaker, the budget before us presents the funding for a number of capital projects that are currently ongoing or will begin in the coming year. Mr. Speaker, we all understand the absolute importance of the major capital projects that are currently ongoing or planned for the short term. We must invest to further diversify our economy because diversification will strengthen our revenue streams, and my ministry stands ready to support our various capital projects by ensuring that our small businesses and those with that entrepreneurial spirit are prepared to take full advantage of what is coming. Mr. Speaker, the international airport, which has already started, will be the single largest capital investment that our country will have undertaken, with a cost exceeding $1 billion. The investment is significant, and we expect the benefits will be even more significant. The international airport will address the issue of access, which has been one of our longest standing bottlenecks to economic development. For too long, our development has been stunted due to the various access difficulties, which include extended travel time, often involving multiple stops, with higher costs, lost baggage. However, the international airport will address all these issues, and as such, we expect to realize a significant increase in visitor arrivals on its completion. Dominica has all that it needs to be a world leader in the tourism industry. As a country, Dennis, you have a lot to work with. As a country, we have been so richly blessed with an abundance of natural resources that are at world-class level. Coupled with the friendliness of our good citizens, we are already being hailed as one of the world's top tourism destinations. Mr. Speaker, as a valedictorian graduate of the University of the West Indies, I have to say that. I have often lamented that so far we have been unable to host a graduation ceremony that can accommodate the entire open campus in the Caribbean. So far we have had 4 open campus valedictorians. I was the first, just to point that out. But none of the ceremonies have been held here in Dominica. Our challenge with access limits our ability to host these large ceremonies. Therefore, with the completion of the international airport and the continued increase in our hotel rooms and other major infrastructure, we expect to host many of these in the future. Given our strategic location, sitting in the middle of the Caribbean, Dominica is ideally placed to become a hub of activities and events of a regional scale, thereby adding a whole new category of visitors to Dominica. The international airport will also bring some additional benefits in the area of trade, especially where goods with short shelf life are concerned. Our ability to bring in large amounts of food and other necessities following a natural disaster would also be significantly enhanced, thereby adding another layer of support to ensuring our food and national security. All things said, Mr. Speaker, the international airport is a must, and we have no choice but to just keep going forward with it. Mr. Speaker, I think Vince explained it to you somewhere. But, Mr. Speaker, we have given particular attention to upgrading our road networks to improve communication and transport to support the major capital projects underway. We have roads from Poncassi to Hatton Garden, from Bois Diab to Cassie Bruce, and into the Kalinago territory, Layo Valley to York Valley Bridge. We have done significant work to ease movement across the island. The Marina de Cabrits is another upcoming project that will create significant opportunities for small business development in Portsmouth and the surrounding communities like Cottage. The Small Business Support Unit, and Colio, and Mao. The Small Business Support Unit will therefore ensure that this part of the country is included in our community outreach program, where we will again enlighten the prospective small business owners on how they might explore new business opportunities, as well as provide them with the necessary training and other financial and technical support that will assist them to capitalize on the opportunities that will arise from the construction of the marina. It is easy to conceive how small businesses such as food and beverage, nightclubs, boat repairs and maintenance, fishing supplies, grocery shops, tour operators, and others might complement the marina to ensure that our visitors have a most rewarding experience in Dominica. Mr. Speaker, through our community outreach programs, we will visit the various communities to encourage our citizens to review the various governmental investments and seek to identify businesses that need to be developed to support the emerging projects. After identifying prospective opportunities, we may need to provide training and upgrade their skills. the Honorable Prime Minister has outlined the need for a reset and a revamping of our education system. We at the Small Business Unit Support will ensure that the training we provide is relevant for these times and the new future that we are building. We see the increased prevalence and use of digital technology and artificial intelligence that is at the forefront of this new age, and we will therefore ensure that we support and equip our small businesses so that they are not left behind. Our ministry's initiative to provide rental facilities for manufacturing and agro-processing is designed to support businesses in scaling up their operations to meet the anticipated increase in demand. With greater access to affordable production facilities, our small businesses will be better equipped to take advantage of the opportunities the international airport and other similar investments will bring. Overall, Mr. Speaker, our capital investments, such as the airports, are catalysts for economic transformation. Our ministry's plans, and before I continue, Mr. Speaker, she is not here, but I wanted to thank the Honorable Miriam Blanchard. Oh, she hides. I wanted to thank the Honorable Blanchard for the strong support that she provides at the Ministry of Labor and the Small Business. Her mentorship, because she's a veteran and she reminds us, is truly appreciated. I also wish to profusely thank my PS Gloria Joseph, as well as Michael, Nola, Oli, and the staff of the Small Business Opportunity for their strong support over the past few months since I've been here. Our ministry's plans and programs are laying the groundwork for our small businesses and other stakeholders to leverage these major investments, turning them into a springboard for sustainable growth and prosperity. The government's continued support of education and education reform. Why do I have that? Sorry. Okay, Mr. Speaker, I will now want to mention how the budget is touching my constituency. As the minister responsible for small business and as the parliamentary representative for the Collier constituency, I will start by showing how the small business has impacted the Collier constituency. Mr. Speaker, the government's continued support of education and education reform in the Collier constituency, we again witnessed another strong performance from the Jubla Primary School in this year's Grade 6 National Assessment, where the school placed 4th overall. Okay, here we go. I do apologize. Papers got mixed up. Okay, Mr. Speaker. The Small Business Unit has provided support to the Collier small businesses totaling over $53 million in the past year. Now, we have given grants to various types of businesses, including the honey, the Busy Bee Honey, and other shopkeepers, and the various types of businesses. That is just in the past year. Now, these grants have provided vital support to our entrepreneurs, enabling them to acquire essential equipment and stock that will aid in their business development. Mr. Speaker, we celebrate these small businesses, we celebrate their success, and acknowledge the contributions that they make to our local economy. Mr. Speaker, the budget includes $106 million in investments to education. At this time in our history, when there are so many other significant demands on our limited resources, this represents a significant commitment to advancing our education agenda. In my constituency, we are very pleased for the government's continued support of education and education reform. In the Collier constituency, we again witnessed another strong performance from the Dublin Primary School at this year's Grade 6 National Assessment. where the school placed 4th overall. Mr. Speaker, this is a very tiny school, but we can all agree that it is punching very high above its weight. And all we can do is stand in admiration and applaud. Let's applaud. Mr. Speaker, education has always been forefront of the government's policy and investment. We believe that every household should have a university graduate. Achieving university education makes an individual more marketable and therefore translates to the ability to gain quality jobs.
21 more minutes.
Yes,
21.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this translates to the ability to gain quality jobs and the creation of employment to leverage financial burden within households. Mr. Speaker, in the Collier constituency, we have had 12 constituents successfully receiving scholarships from the government of Dominica, and 6 have so far completed. The Collier constituency is a stone throw away from the Portsmouth constituency, where the American Canadian Medical School is located. The school has just attained accreditation from and is on the verge of commencing operations. This augurs well for us as it presents educational and employment opportunities for my constituents, and I urge my lovely people from the Collier constituency to ensure that full advantage is taken of this impending opportunity. We have witnessed the start of something great in Collier. Over the past year, we have seen an increase in the focus on agriculture that has culminated with the fencing of our Collier School garden. The great thing about this is that the fencing was done by the parents and the teachers and myself, with me joining them to get it done. Citizens are taking on more personal responsibility for the upliftment and are joining forces to take our village forward. The complete fencing of the Collier School is our next target, and we hope to start so in the coming weeks, Mr. Speaker. For the first time in recent memory, we are also having a full summer program at the Collier Primary School that is expected to continue for a period of 4 weeks. At my last report, the number of students attending this program, it nearly equated the total number of students attending the school, and I am getting reports that new students are adding and coming on board every day when they hear of how well the program is doing. I want to applaud the NEP workers that has started this program, Nakia, Weisel, and others. Over the course of the past year, I have continued to provide very strong support to both primary schools in my constituency, especially in the area of the school feeding program, where I have committed to providing monthly food supplies to augment that which is already being received from the government of Dominica. Now, the aim is to ensure that every child can get a meal, regardless of their financial circumstance. And I will continue this program in the coming school year. I have also supported the college students in my constituency by providing them with transportation grants to and from the Dominica State College. And that is another program I also intend to continue in the upcoming year. That is part of what I do with my $50,000. I do not build whole roads to my home with it. Just had to throw that in there. I wish to, while saying on that, I wish to recognize Miss Ebony Malaika John Charles of BIOSH on graduating as the valedictorian of the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School this year. She is such a dedicated, this is such a dedicated and positive young lady. Every time I visit a mother, a household, she's in a room studying. So it is not surprising that she came out as the valedictorian. We want to wish her the best of luck as she enters a new chapter at the Dominica State College. I am sure she will continue to make her mother and all of us very proud. Mr. Speaker, as parliamentary representative for the Collier constituency, I will ensure that every child has the means to succeed. I believe in a sound education and I believe in our children. Mr. Speaker, I spoke earlier about the need to enhance our road network and our night activities leading up to the commissioning of the international airport. I am pleased to report that we are doing our small part in Biosh. We have already started. We got ahead. A few weeks ago, the residents of Biosh and I must recognize the persons that helps, like Drago and the others. These residents, they came and they joined with the Biosh Labour Party group to redo and pave a section of the road in the Lagon Biosh area that is leading to the fishing lockers and the docks. Now, the interesting thing about this road, Mr. Speaker, is that while it is used for transportation, it is not a heavily used road in that regard. But that road is one that is where the main activities take place in Biosh, things like the fish nights and the other various social activities in the community. So what we are doing is putting together not just road, but we are rebuilding the social and the entertainment fabric of Biosh. Mr. Speaker, consultation has already begun on the Biosh septic challenge. As we speak, I am working with one of our foremost professionals and leaders in the community to provide the necessary assistance in crafting a solution to this long-standing problem. Now, I am very confident that we will get that problem solved within the coming year, and I can put a proposal to Cabinet for its consideration. Mr. Speaker, the government's commitment to the blue economy has been very well outlined. And I am pleased to report that my constituency will not be left behind. The Honorable Defoe specifically mentioned Biosh and Dubla, and I am looking forward to their support. Mr. Speaker, I have recently prepared a proposal for the completion of the ice making facility in Dubla. That facility was constructed in collaboration with the residents of Dubla, with the funding made available from the government of Dominica. And the intention, Mr. Speaker, is to continue that facility in that same spirit. The Honorable Minister for the Blue Economy has given me the assurance that as soon as this budget is passed, we will receive the funding to complete that facility. And so we are very much looking forward to that in the village of Dubla, Mr. Minister. Mr. Speaker, we have a long sporting history in the Collier constituency. Both Collier and Dubla have produced a number of national and regional cricketers, some of which have gone on to represent the West Indies. And Dubla has produced a number of national footballers, and at this time sits atop of the Dominica Premier League. Where is Miss Lockhart? We are at the top of the Dominica Premier League in football. Mr. Speaker, at the last count, we had 6 players, including the captain, on the Dominica senior national football team, the men's football team. I wish to extend congratulatory remarks to the captain of the Dominica football team, Mr. Braille Thomas from my constituency, who is joined by his fellow teammate, Felix Jr. Anselm, a member of the LYO, Travis Joseph, Odell Laville, Javid George, and Savio Ansel. Over the past few months, we have also seen the resurgence of the Dublin women's football team, which features our reigning Miss Dwop Duet, Nikes Moransi. A lot of good things happening down there. We're small, but we're mighty. And Miss Nikes is joined by so many other bright young ladies from the community of Dubla and Biosh. Now, the Dubla women's team can also boast of having 3 players, that is Star Humphreys, Rosalinda Paul, and Sherita Paul on the national women's team. And we also have this beautiful young lady from Colio, who is part of the team, Kian George, who plays for the national under-17 team. So my support to this women's team was recently demonstrated. It's no surprise that I ran in the sports store and get football boots for them. So, Mr. Speaker, I recently gave boots to all the members of the team that did not have a pair of football boots. I also supported the domestic football league that took place in Dublin, where we had our local constituency competition that was organized in Dublin. Now I sponsored the BOSH team, the name was BOSH United, earlier in the year. And in the upcoming financial year, I will assist by helping with the irrigation system on the playing field so that especially during the dry season, we can maintain a good playing surface. And we will also continue the construction of the Dublin pavilion on the playing field. I have also started initial discussions with the coach of the Dublin team, Mr. Kevin Charles, on how we might put in some sitting stands on that playing field. Now, Mr. Speaker, it's also important to mention that in Corlew, we have also revived football. Corlew now have a men's football team playing for the first division competition. Now, I also recently contributed a number of football boots and uniform and training equipment to the men's football team in Corlew. Now, we also have plans to construct a new playing field in Corlew that will be larger and more strategically located than the existing playing field. Mr. Speaker, sports is high in my constituency and it is only rising higher.
10 more minutes.
Mr. Speaker, with the support from the Ministry of the Public Works, we are addressing the matter of street lighting in my constituency. The NEP teams have nearly completed digging the holes and making the necessary preparations for the installation of the solar and wind-powered lights. And these have been taking place in various hamlets throughout the constituency. We have Mont Blanc, Corlew Village itself, Platte-Mapier, Behosh, and O'Hara in Dublin. All these areas will receive new lights from the government. And the expectation is that these should be completed within the coming weeks. In the area of housing, Mr. Speaker, as indicated by the over $69 million that have been so allocated, we can confirm that the housing revolution remains a priority of our government. The housing revolution has already touched my constituency and is expected to continue at full speed in the coming year. This Labour Party government has so far been instrumental in transforming the life of 10 households at Platte-Mapier. We have sheltered 10 families by providing them with safer, more comfortable, and ensuring them a better and more dignified life, Mr. Speaker. We are also pleased to announce that the government will make lands available to the constituents at Platte-Mapier in the coming months. I want to assure my beloved constituents in Platte-Mapier that I have heard their call for a bus stop, especially with respect to the children going to school. And so I am pleased to inform them that we will be starting the bus stop next month. And next month is almost upon us. So in August 2023, we will be starting the bus stop at Platte-Mapier. And we have plans to do 3 other bus stops at strategic locations throughout the constituency. In Corlew, in Behosh, next to Paradise Hill, and up in O'Hara. We have 3 more bus stops after the Platte-Mapier one to come. Mr. Speaker, now returning to our housing program, I am very pleased to announce that we have received approval for another 10 houses at Platte-Mapier, which are expected to begin soon. Another 10 families will soon receive the blessing of a new home from this, the Dominican Labour Party government. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, outside these large housing developments, we continue to provide housing support for repairs and improvements to our residents. Over the past few months, support has been granted to constituents for the construction of washrooms, for the installation of windows, doors, kitchen cupboards, and various other repairs. Just last week, another 10 families were blessed to receive a support totaling $37 million to effect such minor repairs. Oh, sorry, $47,000. Oh. Just some that's ongoing maintenance and repairs to our housing system. There is no question how much this government cares for its people, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we are not just the safer choice, that is why we are the only choice. Now, Mr. Speaker, the government's concern for its citizens, especially the elderly and the less privileged members of our community, have been very well demonstrated in my constituency. And I want to really recognize the exceptional support that I receive from my constituency staff, like Sherita, Desiree, Larissa, and Monique. The support is just so very much appreciated that I cannot say. In the constituency, in the Collier constituency, now we hold dear one of the fundamental tenets of the Dominican Labour Party, which is to take care of our vulnerable members of our community. In my constituency, we have a number of seniors benefiting from the government's 65 and over non-contributors pension. Also, I was therefore elated to see that the National Employment Program continues to receive strong budgetary support from our Labour Party. This is because the NEP continues to provide a critical service to our seniors and vulnerable in the constituency, as it does across Dominica. From day one, on becoming a PAL rep, I understood the importance of continuing and then on expanding on the work that my predecessor, the Honorable Lady Daniel, had started by making full use of our cherished NEP
Five more
workers
minutes. 5 more
in
minutes.
taking care of our elderly and vulnerable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, thanks to the grace of our Honorable Prime Minister, over the past year, we have increased the number of NEP caregivers in Collier, Jubela, and Biosh. Additionally, we have created 2 new NEP community health aid positions, where the 2 officers visit the homes of all our seniors, ensuring that they are being well taken care of, ensuring that they are taking their medication, and ensuring that they are growing old with pride and dignity. Our appreciation for our seniors goes further, Mr. Speaker. We have made it a habit in Collier to deliver care packages to our seniors. We have also initiated the program whereby we recognize every senior from 70 years onward on their birthdays. We spend some time with them and we celebrate with them. We bring them a little birthday card with a little gift inside. Mr. Speaker, the deep gratitude and appreciation that they show makes every one of those visits an absolute joy. But, Mr. Speaker, we do not intend to end there in Collier constituency. Our dream is to continue to transform the constituency into one that our Dominicans living abroad will consider an ideal place to retire. We will create an environment where every one of our seniors is celebrated, treated with respect and dignity. My hope is for a multi-purpose community center where we can host regular seniors activities such as bingo nights, dances, plays, and other activities specifically targeted at our seniors. Now, we appreciate that in the past, it might have been necessary for people to move away, and I say in the past, necessary for them to move away to greener pastures. But what we want to create and what we want to show them is that Dominica is the place to return to, especially the Collier constituency, where we will be catering to their needs. 10 more minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the honorable member be given an additional 10 minutes to wind up his presentation.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Minister be given an additional 10 minutes. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. You have an additional 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, what we're looking to do in Collier is to create an environment that is very welcoming to seniors, very welcoming to the seniors in the diaspora. Because what we want to do is, to have this civic training where everyone can recognize that these are important citizens. When they come with their pensions and they come with their knowledge. So we want to have the community center where we will recognize them, we will have events for them, we will have bingo nights, we will have dances, traditional dances, we will have plays and theater, and just create an overall environment. We also have a good health center. We recently put in this very large generator, almost the size of that table on the health center. We also put in a whole new water tank system, so they can not be too worried about the health aspect of it. Our health system is strong and it is getting better, And so overall, Dominica and the Collier constituency is a very welcoming place for the seniors, and so we are inviting them back to Dominica. Now, I was speaking earlier about a multi-purpose community center. One of the things we look to host there is the seniors activities. Now, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report to my constituents that our technical team at the Ministry of Public Works has already visited the site, and they are doing an assessment right now to confirm the feasibility of the location for the intended structure. Now, I expect that over the coming months, all the necessary information will be available and that I can then bring a proposal to Cabinet for its consideration. Mr. Speaker, what we are hoping to construct is a single structure that will house a hall that will serve as the hurricane shelter. So we would no longer have to go down to Layu, a meetings hall, a reception and other events hall, a commercially equipped kitchen that will cater to the needs of the hurricane shelter and the reception hall. Now the kitchen will also allow for the culinary and other cooking classes where we can train and equip our citizens in line with our education reform, which is centered on technical and vocational development. The structure will also house a digital hub where young persons can be trained and be readied for this new digital age. This facility will also be available to all students in the community, thereby ensuring access to the internet and safe and comfortable working space where students can do their homework, where they can study, where they can do research. The building will also facilitate other technical vocational training in areas such as sewing, art, music, theater, amongst others. And finally, the building will serve as a center location for the various offices in the constituency, such as the PAREPS office, the village council, the post office, and so on. Now, Mr. Speaker, this Labour Party government is a transformative one that is launching Dominica into the future. And I can assure my wonderful people of the Collier constituency that they will not be left behind. Now, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I wish to remind everyone that we are still in the hurricane season. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member from Grand Bay is disturbing me.
Member. You're affecting your flow. Yes, proceed. Proceed, Honorable Minister.
Yes. Now, Mr. Speaker, we are in the hurricane season, so I want to remind everyone to be prepared. Now, for those who can afford, maintain your reserves of food and water. Ensure that your generators are well serviced and in good working order. Check your hand radios and your power banks. Keep your surroundings free of debris and trim the trees that might pose a threat in high winds. In the Collier constituency, we again wish to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his support in assisting us get prepared. We have recently dredged all our rivers in the constituency, and we also received critical hurricane supplies, sleeping cots, and food that we have put in the hurricane shelters at Biosh and Tubla. We again want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and the government for its support. Now, what I want to urge our people, the people of my constituency and the people of Dominica, is to not take the kind of caring leadership for granted. Now, we need to stand up and we need to defend our national reset. We need to defend this budget, and we need to defend the government's policies and programs that are all meant to ensure a more social, healthy, prosperous, and caring nation. Let us remain forever grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skirt, and let us remain forever grateful to the Dominica Labour Party. Thank you. Mr. Speaker. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Mr. Speaker, I ask for the House to be adjourned to Monday at 10 a.m.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House be adjourned to Monday, 31st July at 10 a.m.
Any second, Honorable Pinard?
Seconded.
Nice, nice. Yes, yes. So it has been moved and seconded that the House be adjourned to 10 a.m. Monday, 31st July, 2023. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House is adjourned to Monday, 31st July, 2023 at 10 a.m.